What's going on, guys? So, a user bought my iPod repair service and sent me 2 iPods. I contacted them with shipping information to ship these to me, and normally when I do that, I ask them, what's going on with the iPod, and just to give me a little bit of information on what's going on, so I can have a decent plan of attack, order parts if needed, or whatever. He never responded to that. Just sent me the 2 iPods, and yeah, so let's figure out what's up with them. We will start with this one. Okay, so nothing happens when I click the buttons. Battery's probably dead. So let's plug it in. Got a little Apple logo there. And as you can see, it looks like it just shuffles the Apple logo over and over again. You see if I can hear any type of hard drive crunching from the platters in there. And I don't hear anything as far as, what do we got here? I can feel the hard drive spinning up. Okay. And we have music. Scroll wheel works. Hold switch works. Let's check and see if it plays music. Okay, let's just pick something. Well, AC/DC, why not? Play works, next works, previous works, and menu works. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this iPod seems to work. Okay. For my day job, for a living, I do IT work, and this is why it's very important when, a person fixing your stuff asks you specifically what is wrong with it. This is why the old answer of, it just doesn't work. And I mean, actually, this person never even responded to me, so I didn't even get that far, but a little background information goes such a long way in the aspects of helping us troubleshoot what is going on. If I don't know what's wrong or what it's doing or not doing, then I really don't know how to fix it. So I'm going to not test the hard drive, I'm going to go into the diagnostic page and just check the hard drive. And you get to this menu here, this diagnostic menu, by holding menu and center until the iPod screen goes black and it starts to reboot. Then as soon as it reboots, then you immediately have to press and hold left and center until the screen goes white and the screen pops up. So you want to go to menu for manual test, click down and then click on I/O, hard drive, HD smart data, device opened. So 0 reallocated sectors and 0 pending sectors, only 99 power on hours. I mean, this hard drive looks perfect. I mean, maybe the battery doesn't last very long and maybe he needs a battery replacement. I don't know. So I'm going to message this person again, see what's going on with it, or what he thought was wrong with it, or whatever. So okay, we'll reboot this. Set this one aside for now. And we'll take a look at the other one they sent us, which is also a 7th gen 160. The previous one was also 7th gen 120, I apologize. Okay. So for this one, nothing happens. Let's plug it in. Nothing happens. So even with a dead battery, or actually even no battery, if you plug AC power into an iPod, you will get something on the screen. So either a couple things, one or a couple of these things could be wrong. Either the charge port is is dead and no longer working, the motherboard is crap, or the LCD, it is actually getting power and powering on, but the LCD is dead. So that's kind of a tough one. So I think really the first thing that I'm going to do before I go any further is I'm going to email this dude back and just try to get a little bit more insight on what is going on. I will be back once they respond. Okay, the user did respond, or the owner, sorry, I'm in IT mode, the owner did respond, and this one right here is what I thought was wrong with it. I figured maybe possibly the battery just didn't last long, and that's the case with this. He wants the battery replaced. This one, he just threw in and just wanted to ask me to see if I could diagnose what was wrong with it. He says it didn't work, so let's take it apart and see what we find. Gotta find a spot. Get it started. The 7th gen ones and 6th gen ones that are the thin backs, they are a lot harder than the 5th gen ones. They're just so much tighter to get into. And I say this on all my iPod videos. When taking this case off, most people will just say, oh, look, a battery cable, and they'll try to pull it out. And what they'll do is they will take this battery connector with them. You don't want to do that. You'll have a bad day. So what I do is I take a spudger, hold down the battery clip, take tweezers, and then pull up on the battery cable. Done. Easy peasy. So he was thinking that the battery was the culprit since it wasn't powering on. But I mean, normally when you see a bad battery, it's swollen. This is definitely not swollen at all. And this iPod looks like it has been gotten into before because the little bumpers on the side here are gone. They're on this side, but they're not on this side. So I don't know who did work to this, what work they did. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a battery in there that has a little bit of juice in it and see what happens from there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I get the battery is I'm going to ready it to accept the battery cable. So again, not wanting to pop this clip off, what I do is I take the spudger, the small end of the spudger, I hold down on that white part, I take my handy dandy little tool here, which is just a bent paper clip, insert it under the battery clip, and then pull up. Okay, let's turn it over, and we have power. Back this off a little bit. So what I'm thinking, the LCD obviously works. What I'm thinking is the charge port is no longer charging. Okay, so that's almost a full battery. So let's plug this in real quick and let's just see if we get a charge icon. And we do get a charge icon. You can see it right there in the corner, the little lightning bolt guy. So that's odd because normally when you plug in the iPod, it doesn't matter if there's juice in the battery or not. You'll usually get a backlight. Like the iPod itself will turn on when you plug it into AC power. That's weird. Well, let me test it otherwise. Oh, Aerosmith. Let's test with that. Holy hell, that is loud. Well, audio works, play works, next works, previous works, menu button works. Hold switch works. So honestly, everything seems fine, so I guess we'll just replace the battery and call it good. Next, we need to remove the aux port cable. So there's that little clip right there. You just pull up on it like so, and then remove it. So this battery is held on by adhesive underneath here. And a lot of people, they'll just stick a spudger under this and then just pry it up. The problem is there's adhesive running this whole length under the battery. And that adhesive gets into this hold switch cable right here. So if you pry up on it, the cable is actually stuck to the bottom of the battery. You pry the battery up, it's gonna rip this hold switch cable. So what you wanna do, I have a kind of like a curved spudger like that. So what I do is I just kind of take it, stick it under here. And this looks like it's been pried up before because it's coming up very easily. Okay, so you kind of see in there that cable is stuck to the bottom. It's hard to get a good angle in there, but it's stuck to the bottom of that battery. So what you want to do is take your plastic spudger and just kind of go along the bottom there and just kind of loosen it. Man, this one's really stuck. And loosen it off the bottom of that battery. There it goes. Now we can pull up, still gently. Move the battery, cable is safe. Okay. Okay, so 3.7 volts, 650 mAh. This is the correct size battery for this unit. Okay, next thing we need to do, we need to reattach this aux cable. See it through my finger. So I just take the spudger like this, and I just kind of lower it into place. Sorry, my thumb is casting a shadow. And then it just kind of gets inserted like that. Take the tip of your spudger, fold that clip over like that, and then there you go. That's all there is to that. And again, we need to release that battery clip. Just like that. Fold your hard drive back over. Insert your battery. Push down on the clip. And another thing I like to do is sometimes when you're prying the case open, it can kind of, sorry, let me zoom out. When you're prying on the case, the edges of it can kind of fan outwards from being pried. It is metal and it's, it's sheet metal. So what I like to do is I like to take my fingers and just kind of bend the edges back in. Just so everything's tight again. So before I close it up though, since it was kind of a pain in the butt to open, I'm just going to test it. Oops, hold switch is on. There we go. And one more time, I will test everything just to make sure everything's good. Make sure the aux port is still working. And it is. I'm getting scroll wheel clicking sounds out of both headphones. Let's just shuffle all songs. Fish. Okay, pause works. Next works. Cleaning out my closet. This is not Cleaning Out My Closet by Eminem. It is Eminem, but the song is actually Mockingbird. Sorry, getting a little off track there. So, previous works, menu works, hold works. So the last thing I'm going to do before I call this good, there's only like next to nothing on the battery list right there. So I'm going to charge it, and I'm going to make sure it actually charges to full to make sure the charge port is working and the battery is actually getting charged. And I will do that before closing it up. I'll plug it in now. Excuse my fat hand. Okay, we are getting the charge icon right there, so that's good. So I will leave that plugged in and we'll see what happens. But I'm fairly confident that everything's gonna work out fine. And I still have to swap the battery on this one. Everything on that iPod is working fine. So I don't feel the need to video a battery swap on the second one, so. Okay, I got the battery switched out on this one. And yeah, I kind of figured this video was over, but I was wrong. I kind of got a little too forward on that last part right there. So I was going to take power off this one and plug it into here just to make sure everything charged okay on this one. And then I noticed this one says charged. I mean, it's only been 20 minutes and that battery, as you remember, was dead. So like, something else is going on with this one. So let's unplug it and see if it actually is charged. I don't think it is. Nope. Look at that. All the way down to nothing. So either the battery is bad or something is going on with the charge port. So while we're swapping this out, I'm going to charge this one and just make sure this one is doing okay. So we're getting the lightning bolt. Which actually, I think on this one we were getting, I don't remember what we were getting. I think we were getting like a plug icon. So I don't know if that means, yeah, it's plugged in and it's charging because it's different models, or it means, hey, you need to plug this thing in. So I'm not really sure. So we'll let this one kind of bake for a little bit. And I have a different battery here, so we'll try that again. So I'm not gonna make you watch me swap out another battery. So I'll swap out the battery, plug it in, let it charge, and see what happens, and I'll let you know what my findings are. Okay, I think I got this one finally figured out. So here is what was going on. I replaced a battery into this guy right here, and instead of getting, the lightning bolt icon on the battery when charging, I was getting a plug. I let this one charge for a little bit, unplugged it as you saw before, and there was no charge. It would not charge at all. So then I had this 850 mAh battery that I tried in here, and that one worked. So this battery is too thick to fit into this casing, so I couldn't just use this one. So that told me that the iPod itself was not the problem, but it was the battery. So I got a brand new another brand new battery out of the box, put it in, and nothing. It wouldn't charge, wouldn't do anything. So I'm thinking, okay, what the hell's going on? Why does it like the 850 mAh over the 650 mAh battery? It shouldn't. Well, one, it really shouldn't matter which one it uses, but the 650, the thinner one, the ones that were not working, are the correct size. I had replaced the battery on this one with a 650 mAh battery, the standard that's supposed to go in both of these. And the one I put in here charged fine. So I figured, okay, well, let's take the battery out of this one and put it in this one. So I did that, put it in here, charged it up for a little bit, it charged fine. So, okay. So that tells me that these two batteries are DOA. I contacted my supplier for these batteries and to let him know that the two I got in the batch that I bought are no good. Hopefully he refunds me. He technically doesn't have to because I think I'm like 3 days over the 30-day rule. but I buy a lot of stuff from him, so hopefully he won't be a jerk and he will honor it. So, I mean, and if not, then I'm out, 12 bucks for both batteries, so whatever. So yeah, all I have left now is I'm just going to charge both of these up to full, and then hopefully that will be it. So I'll let you know how that goes. So the problem with this iPod was something going on with the motherboard where the motherboard keeps getting extremely hot, and no matter what we do, it just keeps draining the battery. I'll fully charge up a battery and it'll be drained dead within, I don't know, 2-3 hours of doing nothing, not playing music, not nothing. And it's all just sitting there. The whole iPod gets extremely hot. So there's something going on with the motherboard. So yeah, I am just going to swap that. There is our replacement. So let's take this apart. And with this iPod, I've tested several batteries, probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. I even ordered an additional batch because I thought, maybe all the batteries are bad. And the weird thing is this customer has 2 iPods, and both of the iPods are doing the exact same thing, which I found was just insanely odd. So like I ordered another set of batteries, even from a different seller, just to make sure that it was actually the iPod's doing it. And yeah, I'm kind of dumbfounded by this one, so let's tear this apart. Okay, there are 6 screws, 3 on each side. I'll speed this up so you guys don't have to really watch me do this in slow-mo. Okay, to remove the motherboard, there are, let me see if I can focus. There are 2 screws, one here, one here. And then just pry it out like so. Then we need to take the click wheel off, pry up on that clip. And just peel it off the board. Now we're gonna make sure we don't mix these up, so I'm gonna put it up here, away from all my stuff. Because believe it or not, I have actually taken a motherboard off before, and I have mixed it up. And then I actually sent it back to the customer, and the customer was like, I still have the same problem. And I went back and forth with them, for a day or two, and I was just like, no, there's no way in hell. I mean, there's no way I could have accidentally put the old motherboard back in. And lo and behold, I checked the serial number of the one that I still had, and then I checked the serial number of the one that I put back. And yeah, stupid moment on my part, but that's what happens when you get a side hustle and you do this type of stuff when you have time, which for me is usually in the middle of the night, and you're tired. Okay, so let's slap this back together. Okay, so LCD first. Oops. Okay, so I'm not even going to, I'm going to put, I think, 2 screws in. Dump those out. Just to make sure we're secure. I don't want to put every single screw in and then something be wrong. I'll put just enough on to hold everything down. Usually do like one on the top right and then one on the bottom left, or vice versa. Okay. So let's take up our battery latch there. Then we can put back in the aux port. Put our hard drive back in. So this is one of the first batteries that I put in this thing to test. So the thing that sucks about swapping out a motherboard is it's going to force you to have to restore to factory settings, because the hard drive and the motherboard, they pair together. So once you get a different motherboard in there, it's going to pretty much say, oh, what is this hard drive? I don't recognize this thing. We need to restore back to factory settings. So this is why it is always a good idea to make sure your data is backed up all the time. I mean, especially, even with the flash drives, it's still a good idea. They're a better product than the regular HDD drives. I mean, but this right here, this will fail. So if your music is not backed up, you need to back it up, because if this goes, you're screwed. There's no way to get it back. I mean, unless you want to spend, several $1,000s in data recovery for some music, But yeah, okay. So battery's dead on it. Let's charge it and see what happens. So I'll be back with you. Okay, so finally got this iPod working. So swapping out the motherboard resolved first of all, the hot issue, and second of all, resolved the battery issue of having a battery drain so quickly within, I think, like an hour of it being fully charged. So last night I swapped the battery out, or not the battery, I'm sorry, the motherboard. I charged it up to full, and then I let it sit overnight, and actually all day today, and the charge stayed. So we're still on a full charge. Sorry. There we go. Then I ran into another issue. I could not for the life of me get the iPod to restore with iTunes. It would get stuck, and it just would fail. And I did a hard drive check with the smart data with the built-in diagnostic screen on the iPod, and everything actually looked great on the hard drive. So I don't know. I ended up swapping the hard drive out with another one, and that did not resolve the issue. And then I swapped out another one. That did not resolve the issue, and I actually swapped out the hard drive ribbon cable. That did not resolve the issue, and then my computer was acting weird. I ended up rebooting it. It took like an hour to reboot, and by that time I actually had the original hard drive back in, and I tried restoring it again, and that didn't work. But then I swapped out another hard drive, and then that took care of it. So I was able to restore it with the iTunes. I put some music on it, and I listened to it, and everything is functioning properly. Holy crap, this has been a long time coming. And the sad part is I still have to do the other one. So, since I already showed you the process of replacing the motherboard on the first one, I am just going to skip replacing. I'm gonna spare you guys the agony of watching me replace another board. So I'll see you in just a second when it's complete, and I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, both iPods are now finally restored in working condition. Everything's good. So we took care of this one already, and this was the last one that we were talking about. I charged this up to full battery power, and then I let it sit overnight and all day pretty much, just like this one. And battery power did not go away, drain, or anything like that. The iPod was not hot. Everything's good. So then I went to restore the iPod with iTunes, and it wouldn't even recognize, which is weird because before I swapped out the motherboards, it would still recognize it in iTunes. So I ended up swapping out the hard drive just like this one, and it went. So I don't know. This was a very odd restore. I've never seen a problem like this. I mean, okay. Let me take it back. I've seen weird issues like this before, but I've never seen it with two in the same in the same batch. It's a very weird issue. So this owner will have essentially two brand new iPods. The motherboard is new, and the hard drives are both new. I mean, the good thing is I have oodles and oodles of hard drives. I've had these iPods for probably a month, and it's just been a lot of screwing around, a lot of back and forth, and I've had these for way too long. So there's no way in heck I would ever go back to the owner and be like, yeah, I need more money. No, I'm not doing that. So they are now both working. Battery is good. Both of them connect to a computer, iTunes, both sync music. I've tested everything. Everything looks good. So I'm going to contact the owner, and I am going to send them back. Thank God. Good riddance. On to the next. You guys all have a wonderful day.